What's up, YouTube? This is Shapes93. I'm coming at you with a little different kind of video per se. One, I'm showing my face, whatever. But it's more like I guess a little rant on the deck profile I watched. I'll leave his link to the description below. It's like XG, and it's like a weird YouTube name. Hold on, let me see if I can get on my phone real quick. But pretty much this little rant is going to be about putting tour guide and stuff in .dek. People putting tour guide in X-sabers was his. His YouTube account is XG1MZ0X. Like I said, it was really weird. But yeah, that's kind of one of my biggest pet peeves is people that just kind of throw tour guide in random shit, I guess. It's like, oh, this deck needs 3 spots. Let's throw tour guide in it. Let's do this. And it's just kind of one of those things where it's like tour guide's a power card, but it doesn't need to be in every build. Especially in a deck like Sabers. And I guess, like, this rant really started because I really did not like his build at all. He ran 2 Veilers, which is, I guess Veilers pretty much subpar, because it really doesn't stop water. It doesn't stop, windups to an extent. I mean, you can Veiler the Magician, but, if they have the other Shark, they're still going to drop the board. He ran 2 Maxi is still subpar. And then he ran 2 Tragodias and a Gores. The Gores I understand, the Tragodia not so much, because you're producing a big board. And, you really don't need a Tragodia drop anymore. I mean, he ran triple Emmer's Blade, triple Bogard, triple Dark Soul, and I don't remember seeing pashual anywhere in that build. I would easily replace the Tragodias with pashual. Not too much can really get by it. I mean, water can do it, but that's just if they waste infantry, I believe, or marksman if it's set. So at that point they should be swinging for game either way. So your pashual will almost be irrelevant. Other than that, it's a great card and it stays on the board, and it's an X-saber, so that really helps, keeping 2 cards on the field. Next, it's a little controversial. It's really player preference. He put Fall Troll to 2. I absolutely hated Fall Troll to 2. Even if you have Dark Soul and stuff like that to search out pashual or Bogard. Not Bogard, Fall Troll. It's one of those cards where you don't mind seeing multiples. Yeah, there's sometimes, early game, but the deck has such a good grind game. I think that's why you're able to win a lot more games than you're not going to. And the next thing, he only put Full Helm Knight at 1. I feel like that was a very poor decision. Full Helm Knight is one of those cards where it's the heart of the deck. You can really rely on it to either stay on the board, kind of like Fall Troll, or kind of like pashual, or you can use other properties of it, negating the attack. I played Book of Moon and Econ in mine, so if the deck functions to where you can make your opponent play defensively, and then you can force really well thought out full helm plays. And that's where I guess some people may lose. Like, good players will kind of shine there. You can force your opponent to do stuff. Plus, through testing, I realized that the deck can drop Nat Beast really easily, but the Full Helm Knight makes the Nat Beast play that much deadlier, because they're forced to negate or they're forced to attack, and then you can negate the attack and stuff. Like I said, the card in general it baits out a lot too. I noticed between deep prisons and just stuff that you can easily just let it go and let it be destroyed and let your opponent go 1-for-1 with you, because you'll eventually gain advantage. Next is he was running Avarice, plus and 2 Gotems. There's 2 big problems I see there. Avarice doesn't work in X-sabers. It just doesn't. It's one of those things you keep your cards in the graveyard and just wait till the right opportunity to explode and just create an unbeatable board. That's what sabers do the best. And Avarice doesn't really help because the 2 cards you draw would have to include like a Bogard or something like that. So I think it's just one of those cards where it's good in windups, obviously, because they can drop the world on you. In sabers, not so much, because you can make be Sparky on Stardust, which I've done a lot in the deck. Off of like 1 or 2 Gotem, or like 1 Gotems and like a Bogard or something crazy like that. But yeah, I think he just kind of like went around about the deck all wrong. But really, like, the heart of this rant is the throwing tour guide in everything. Again, you have Emmer's Blade, which is like one of the best floaters I've seen in a long time, opposed to Dark Soul. So those 2, you have enough floating that with that happening. You have an attack stopper, I guess. So in turn, it's another floater. In Full Helm Knight. Let's see what else. You have one of the best boss monsters in Full Troll and Bogard. I kind of consider Bogard a boss monster because if you resolve Bogard and he remains on the field, it's, you're usually gonna make one of those boards that's really hard to get over unless your opponent has it nuts. And then you have pashual, which is Spirit Reaper, and it for an archetype, so you can bring him back and just sit on him and stuff like that. The 1,000 really doesn't hurt. It wins you more games than anything, believe it or not. The next thing was 3 MSTs. You have a mini heavy storm in your extra deck, and you will drop it whenever you need to. It's simple things like Bogard plus pashual, which actually happens a lot because you play 3 Bogards, and Dark Soul just lets the deck just do whatever you want whenever you want. What else was there? There was a lot of things I didn't like about that deck. I can't remember. The lack of compulse. I think you should probably read Full Troll again. Keeping in mind that you can drop it twice. I found the card absolutely broken. And by the way, I did go 7-2 at Ultra Reality, the Cleveland Regional, not too long ago. The ability to resolve compulse on a Full Troll is ridiculous. It just nets you so much advantage. You can do Dark Souls or Full Helms or something like that. And it just leaves your opponent literally going like, what the fuck just happened? The next compulse functions well against decks like decks like Agents, where they summon Gachi and try to push into stuff because they have a 2k beater on the field. Decks that sit behind Zen mains, I realized it was really good against windups, because I would actually wait for them to call traps with their Shockmaster, flip Compulse, and then go off. It's just one of those cards not too many people see the real power behind it, I guess, until you've actually summoned Full Troll, special summoned something from your graveyard, compulsed your Full Troll, specialed it again, and brought another monster back and dropped Beast Sparky on that turn. I feel like the deck wasn't really tested, because in testing he would probably find that Tour Guide was actually subpar, because what it's going to actually do, is Tour Guide's going to net you Stand, or the other Tour Guide. You can drop Invoker and then drop full troll, but that play's not going to get you too far. It literally just puts 1800, a 1900, and a 24 on the board. I know that's a lot of damage, but the way the deck's meant to play is to keep control of the game and slow the pace down on your opponent. Make Beast and Barkion and kind of sit behind your massive back row. Really, I really can't think of too much more. I didn't watch the extra deck because I really got sick of the video. Just kind of, yeah. But anyway, I guess that'll be it for now, YouTube. I'll give you guys a deck profile of the Sabers, soon. I just don't have my stuff with me, but I'm just, searching YouTube and I just see people throwing Tour Guide and stuff that doesn't need to be in. Like, let's throw Tour Guide and burn next time. That's it for right now, so peace out, YouTube.